First, in as far as matters of national government, Treasury versus the Council of Governors, where the Council of Governors has issued a stern warning to the National Treasury demanding immediate release of funds owed to county governments or risk a nationwide shutdown of county operations within the next 30 days. Here is Ben Chumba with the details.
At the heart of the crisis facing counties is the unresolved Division of Revenue Amendment Bill 2024. While the bill passed through Parliament, it has yet to be signed into law, leaving counties in uncertainty. Governors are warning that without funding, essential services could grind to a halt.
We demand that the National Treasury immediately releases funds owed to counties, failure to which the county governments will have no option but to shut down operations completely.
The situation worsened when the National Assembly slashed county government's equitable share by 20 billion shillings, a move condemned by governors as unconstitutional and damaging to devolution.
This goes against the Supreme Court's advisory reference number 3 of 2019, which stipulated that Parliament cannot pass an appropriation bill before finalization of the Division of Revenue Bill.
Currently, counties are operating on just 50% of last year's budget, a temporary measure that will run out by December. Adding to the strain is a growing debt crisis, with the National Health Insurance Fund owing counties over 9 billion shillings in unpaid claims.
In fact, we are at a point where we are saying, why don't you just cash off, offset that money that is owed to KEMSA. NHF should pay KEMSA so that we can continue collecting drugs and pay us the balance. It will be easier for us.
Some counties here are yet to pay salaries for the last 3 months as a result of the delay in disbursement. In many of these counties, we need to get to where the masses are to have them registered. We have governors here who manage counties that are over 50,000 square kilometers. So the question of logistics, the question of fuel, all these things come into play.
Treasury has, however, denied the claim, saying the last bunch of 30.8 billion shillings owed to counties has been released today. The Council of Governors is now calling on the Senate to urgently pass the county allocation of revenue bill. With resources running low, counties are facing an uncertain future, and the clock is ticking on vital services.
So we'll be monitoring what happens there when National Treasury says there's monies in the account and the Council of Governors arguing that they have yet to receive the monies. Now, Moi University's Vice-Chancellor Isaac Kosgei and 3 senior officials from the university have been ordered to appear before the country's anti-graft body in a 2.1 billion shillings graft-related case. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has summoned the 4 to appear in person on Wednesday at their offices in Eldoret. They're accused of embezzlement through fraudulent infrastructural projects which have paralyzed operations at the institution.
Crisis at Moi University, currently on its knees, has attracted the interest of anti-graft body EACC. And on Monday, EACC issued summons to the Vice-Chancellor Isaac Kosgei, the Chief Accountant Egla Samoi, Head of Procurement Wilson Bett, and Head of Development Unit Moses Kipkulei. EACC ordered the 4 to appear in person for an interview and statement recording at their offices in Eldoret on Wednesday. The Commission spokesperson Eric Ngubi in a statement says they have confirmed, besides allegations of presiding over corruption den at the university, the Vice-Chancellor is also facing accusations of attempting to interfere with the ongoing investigations and obstructing the Commission's work by failing to submit crucial documents despite several reminders. Additionally, EACC wants the VC and the 3 officials to furnish them with the original minutes of 18 meetings of a special meeting of the Council held on diverse dates between August 2017 to January 2024. Further, they want the original copies of the approved institutional budgets for the financial year 2016-2017 to 2024-2025, signed contracts between the university and contractors for Phase 1 and 2 of the proposed construction of the library and public health, dentistry and nursing. In EACC, rather, are 11 tenders touching on the proposed construction of the School of Public Health and Dentistry and related works at the College of Health Sciences. Proposed construction of Phase 11 of a library and procurement of consultancy services for the design, review and supervision of the proposed Digital Innovation Center.
Now, still keeping up with stories that are making headlines is that Academic Staff Union UWASU members on Monday held a peaceful procession in Nairobi to reject a 4.3 billion shillings offer from the government to end their strike. The lecturers marched from the University of Nairobi Graduation Square to the Ministry of Education Joko House headquarters, where they petitioned the government to release 8.6 billion shillings demanded by their Moi University counterparts. Here's Joseph Wasungu with the details.
For the 19th day in a row, striking university dons boycotted lectures Monday to participate in a procession to present their grievances to the government that has sent them down tools, leading to a paralysis of learning in country's public universities. Led by UWASU Secretary General Constantine Wasonga, the lecturers demanded that the government finds a lasting solution to their key demands, which include a 7 to 10% salary increase, harmonized allowances, medical coverage, and adequate funding for pension and retirement benefits.
We shall not be in the business of being given Panadol, then we cool down, go back, then we call another strike. This time, dons have instructed me that we sort these problems once and for all.
The problems have been well stipulated. Please honor the return to work formula fully, and you'll have dons back to class.
The stalemate between the government and striking lecturers has persisted since October 29th, with latest attempts to end it failing after UWASU rejected a 4.3 billion shillings offer, terming it manipulative.
We have clarified to the government that the cost of the basic pay is not 4.3 billion. It is 9.7 billion. And we are not cooling down any soon.
The dons began their procession at the University of Nairobi Graduation Square before marching to the National Treasury and the Ministry of Education headquarters, where they presented their petitions.
And I have received your petition. Here it is.
The lecturers also called bluff the Education Cabinet Secretary Bigoso Gamba's stance that the government cannot afford 8.6 billion shillings to address the standoff between lecturers and the management of Moi University.
The money Moi University dons are demanding for is not the government's money. It is their money. For the last 7 years, the university management deducted their money and failed to remit. If the government does not have their money, let them close down Moi University. Solidarity forever! Solidarity forever!
The government has emphasized that Kenya's foreign policy 2024 must uphold diplomatic integrity and adapt to the evolving global geopolitical landscape and pressing and diplomatic realities. Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi said on Monday that the policy will have no room for inconsistency, maintaining it must be a fit-for-purpose document that the nation redefines its approach to global diplomatic engagements. He was speaking on Monday in Nairobi during the Stakeholder Validation Forum on the draft of foreign policy document.
Prime Cabinet Secretary and the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Musalia Mudavadi has underscored the need for the public to be actively involved in the ongoing review of Kenya's foreign policy of 2014.
Our foreign policy has been detached, mysterious, and closed to the public, making it actually foreign to Kenyans. We have decided to break from this past situation and take foreign policy to the people to ensure that we move along with Kenyans in our diplomatic engagements.
Kenya's first foreign policy since independence was published in 2014, providing a reference point on the country's foreign relations.
We must continue to work with the existing through the responsible and innovative use of the existing fabric. We must repair the existing and make it more functional.
In the revised draft document that has been in the pipeline for 7 months now, part of the 10 objectives is to protect Kenya's sovereignty and territorial integrity, promote and protect the country's image and prestige globally, while giving prominence to matters peace and security diplomacy, economic and commercial diplomacy, global governance, among others. Various stakeholders, however, expressed concern over issues they feel are not clearly outlined, including steps the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs intends to take to protect Kenyan workers in the diaspora.
And we have seen that many of the cases, many are crying, posting themselves in TikToks, social medias, especially like the youths who are in areas like Qatar, Saudi Arabia.
So very soon you're going to be coming up with an app that we are able not just to track where Kenyans are, but it's a platform in which they can express what they're going through.
We need to relook at these focus areas and say to ourselves, how do they reflect the priorities that this country has? Somebody mentioned agriculture, for instance, is not mentioned. There's a lot of things. The informal sector is not mentioned.
And one area that I would like to propose for focus is to go beyond the peace and security principle and begin to talk about concrete steps around disarmament, arms control, and the reduction of the use of lethal weapons.
The draft document will also be presented to Parliament for further consideration and later a high-level retreat with the President before the official launch in December.
Now, the government has announced a nationwide international job recruitment exercise beginning Wednesday next week. Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection, Dr. Alfred Mutua, said the exercise will be undertaken across the 47 counties that will minimize inconveniences for job seekers.
The international jobs recruitment will be rolled out in Machakos before spreading to other counties.
We are going to begin the national recruitment to every county, and this will begin this coming week on Wednesday. The first round that will take us for 2 months will take us to about 20 counties. The rest of the recruitment will now continue early next year. We have narrowed down to what we are sure is available and easy to be able to recruit and send people. And so we are looking at 21,000 jobs.
The Cabinet Secretary for Labour and Social Protection, Dr. Alfred Mutua, noted that they have narrowed down jobs that are available and easy to recruit job seekers.
The type of skills that are being looked for, we've got there's need for housekeepers, housemaids, people to undertake car wash, and a huge chunk of jobs that are available are for cleaners. People to do basic cleaning in restaurants or in office buildings for cleaners. They're looking for drivers, even disc jockeys. Service crew, there's people working, service crew, mechanics, construction workers in high demand.
The CS explaining the main purpose of the exercise countrywide.
So the plan is to go to every county to be able to reach out to a 90. We cannot have young people who are looking for work coming all the way to Nairobi to look for different opportunities. So it's not from one country. These are jobs from very many countries.
He further noted that they had analyzed the jobs that have demands and have been given to the Kenyan government and the Kenyan recruiters to employ Kenyans. CS Mutua said that interviews are free of charge. However, there are some opportunities where people will need to pay some money for processing.
Kenyans have been urged to show up fully prepared for job interviews in order to secure a chance in getting a job position internationally.
Now, the judiciary is calling for an increase in funding for child justice programs to enhance protection of children's rights. This was a clarion call during the commemoration of the 35th anniversary of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child in Nairobi. Now, Chief Justice Martha Koome called for concerted efforts to enhance implementation of the Children's Act 2022 to strengthen child court user committees and advance trauma-informed and child-centered courts. John Kahiro with the details.
Child rights crusaders converged at the United Nations offices in Nairobi to celebrate the 35th anniversary since the inception of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. It is here that the Chief Justice, Martha Koome, called on legislators to increase funding towards the child justice system.
I call upon our parliamentarians, the executive, and development partners to increase funding and support for child justice.
A really important part of this as we go forward is to help Kenya make sure that the rights of the child as guaranteed in the CRC are translated not just into programs on paper, but programs that are funded regularly and through the budget.
Koome at the same time stressed the need for greater investment in implementing the Children Act of 2022 to address challenges faced by minors.
I invite collaborations to implement the Children Act 2022, to strengthen children's court users committees. We already have 16 of them all over the country, out of 141 stations, so we have a long way to go, because we need to advance trauma-informed and child-centered courts.
She called for the prioritizing of training for judicial officers to handle cases involving children sensitively and reiterated the judiciary's commitment in upholding the dignity of children.
There has been training, and this training involves the communities. It involves the Nyumba Kumi, it involves the police, it involves the prosecutors, it involves the social workers. It's a lot of work, it's heavy lifting that cannot just be left to the judiciary alone, but we call upon all stakeholders, including the media, to keep on highlighting these cases for the attention of everybody, especially if a child has been defiant, taken to court, and the case has been compromised and withdrawn.
UNICEF Kenya representatives led by Shahin Nilofa noted the body is expediting efforts to alleviate challenges faced by children, such as impacts of climate change, humanitarian conflicts and geographical displacement, especially in the developing countries.
So this is all about children's ask, and children's are requesting government to ensure that they safeguard and protect the social sector budgetary allocation that would really help to operationalize the CRC.
This comes as the world prepares to mark International Children's Day on Wednesday, 20th of November 2024. The week-long event is set to offer a platform to reflect on the steps made in the 35 years journey since the enactment of the Convention on the Rights of Child Treaty and make key deliberations in a bid to leave children the most important legacy that is a livable country, continent and planet.
Now we delve into business, where the National Treasury has assured it is taking concerted efforts in reducing graft and improving efficiency in tax collection, as well as implementation for the countries to realize savings in funding its fiscal obligations. National Treasury and Economic Planning Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi says Kenya ought to improve its domestic revenue mobilization if it is to meet its financial obligations every financial year.
According to the latest figures from the National Treasury and Economic Planning, Kenya's external borrowing for this financial year currently stands at 348 billion shillings, with a further 296 billion shillings borrowed from the domestic market.
Tax revenue growth was only at 13.3%, indicating that our tax collection is not keeping pace with economic growth. This highlights the need to reassess our tax policies and administration of revenue strategies to broaden the tax base and boost revenue collection.
Speaking while opening the 52nd East Africa Revenue Authorities Commissioners General Meeting in Nairobi, Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi noted that there has been a shift in international borrowing as countries begin to look at ways of taming a runaway borrowing.
The attention of our traditional partners is shifting away from us. We like it or not. If today we are getting funding from World Bank to support our activities, from IMF, we must be alive to the fact that the support is going down day by day.
This comes on the backdrop of increased revenue mobilization for the financial year 2023-2024, which grew by 11.1% after the Kenya Revenue Authority collected 2.47 trillion compared to 2.166 trillion in the previous financial year.
KRA has integrated its system with key corporations and government agencies to seamlessly acquire third-party data for tax purposes. This includes integration with the business registration services for verifying private limited company details and ongoing collaboration with payment providers to monitor tax compliance among merchants using their systems.
Livestock farmers have been urged to ensure their animals are vaccinated as part of the national program targeting at least 80% of livestock against the foot and mouth disease and viral disease Pestis ruminans, that is PPR. Now, the Administration Secretary in the State Department for Livestock, Dr. Joshua Chepchang, has called on farmers to avoid misinformation and participate in the vaccination program that is aimed at controlling livestock diseases that have caused economic losses.
The government has embarked on a nationwide livestock vaccination campaign targeting 22 million cattle against foot and mouth disease and immunization of 50 million sheep and goats. The move, spearheaded by the Directorate of Veterinary Services in collaboration with county governments, aims to prevent the spread of these diseases and ensure compliance with international trade standards.
We deny the fact that this vaccination is harmful. It is not harmful at all. It is for good intentions.
We are the ones who are producing these two vaccines. And for foot and mouth disease vaccine, because this is the one that has raised a lot of issues, I want also to mention that in Africa, we are the leading vaccine manufacturer for foot and mouth disease. And this vaccine, we are not just producing for the country, but we are also producing for the whole of our region and Africa as a whole.
They argue that the previous outbreaks have severely impacted the dairy sector by reducing milk production and triggered export bans, thus the necessity to safeguard livestock health and productivity.
Devastates the dairy sector in terms of reduced milk production. In addition, to control the disease, there is a imposition of movement controls, quarantines, that disrupts markets. So you can see the consequences of an outbreak of foot and mouth disease.
You cannot trade with anybody in the world if you have outbreaks of trade-sensitive diseases like foot and mouth disease or the one for sheep and goats called PPR. So for the government to initiate vaccination of animals, it is extremely important for the Kenyan public to know that vaccination of animals is historical.
The national government is set to supplement counties that are unable to mop up enough resources to ensure the campaign's success.
3 students undertaking Internet of Things and robotic studies at the Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies are beneficiaries of a 6.5 billion shillings World Bank funded scholarship program that aims to enhance the innovation ecosystem infrastructure. The students won the scholarship on the backing of their innovation that uses robotics and IoT to ensure that watering, temperature, lighting, humidity, air quality and soil moisture in a farm are perfect for plants to thrive. Here's Nduta Mukami with the detail.
From that side, the innovation is a system that monitors a farm by accurately regulating the conditions best suited for the particular crop. It consists of a set of sensors and modules which collect data and trigger the system to control the farm and ensure proper agronomic conditions.
Depending on the soil moisture of the soil to trigger the pump. For example, we've set the threshold for dryness to a bit 500 and here to 800. So when it's below 800, it means that the soil is wet and it will trigger the pump to stop watering the flowers.
The system works by regulating humidity, temperature, soil moisture, airflow, light, and pH for farmers who choose to grow their crops in a greenhouse. Designed to be farmer-friendly, farmers can control a greenhouse with a smartphone through an app which is easy to understand and operate. More so, Farmers can log into their accounts and control the greenhouse through SMS. The farmer can choose to control the farm automatically, where the farm regulates itself according to the optimum conditions of the crops being grown. Notifications will be sent to the farmer through an app or SMS. On the other hand, it can also be controlled manually, where, for example, the farmer can set the temperature to 24 degrees or the soil moisture to a particular value.
Here we have a small prototype for greenhouse, and in here we are checking everything that resonates with the crops. One being the temperature of the soil, number two being the temperature of the environment, and number three, it's also the humidity that's in the greenhouse.
The innovation is also intended to make farming attractive to the youth, make the venture less labor-intensive, reduce costs, and conserve resources such as water and soil. Additionally, the invention provides farmers with recommendations that boost the quality of produce.
You will find that most of the farmers will tend to water the plants, and during that time you will find that the soil has some moisture, so they face issues like overwater and underwatering. Our project here now tries to solve that problem by automating the irrigation process.
Stakeholders from the Rift Valley Institute of Business Studies are calling for more public-private partnerships to sponsor the growing number of innovative youth. The program is being implemented by the Ministry of Investments, Trade and Industry through the State Department for Industry.
Now to sports, where Sheikh Kahwan and Nikki Patni are crowned winners of the Nyali Junior Golf Series in the boys and girls categories, respectively, during the series finale at the Nyali Golf Club, Mombasa. Sheikh won the boys aged 12 to 14 years competition after posting 546 points, while Ayam Hassan finished second after garnering 686 points. Nikki Patni returned 808 points to emerge the victor in the girls category, edging out Kanika Shah and Ivana Wanjiko, who were ranked in second and third places respectively. Nial won the boys aged 8 years and under, as Craig Frasler was placed second in the category. Evian Klee won the corresponding competition among the girls after posting 88 points. The total of 60 players took part in the championship intended to discover nurture upcoming golfers in the coastal region.
Good.